August 31, 1975. In the small Bavarian town of Klingenberg, Anneliese Michel sat with her family, sharing a simple meal. Laughter echoed softly. The innocence of youth and faith painted across her face. But this would be the last day Anneliese was seen as the girl she once was, gentle, devout, and utterly normal. What followed were months of horror and mystery, a descent so dark that even today, scientists and priests alike debate what truly happened, ending in a death that haunts Germany to this day.
Es muss gebeten werden. Warum?
For years, Anneliese tried to be everything her religious family demanded. Quiet, devout, obedient. From childhood, punishment and shame were constants. She often slept on the floor, atoning for the sins of others, and was pushed to pray for hours each day. But at age 16, Anneliese started suffering violent blackouts. She'd freeze, her eyes vacant, often losing control of her bladder. She'd find herself walking aimlessly, sometimes only coming to when someone shook her. Even after being diagnosed with temporal lobe epilepsy, the medicine didn't help. Instead, darkness closed in. She began seeing grotesque devil faces at all hours. She heard whispers in empty rooms, calling her name. Her body was racked by seizures and paralyzed by overwhelming depression.
By her early 20s, Anneliese's world was unrecognizable. She stopped eating, claiming, "Demons won't let me." She violently refused to touch religious objects, a crucifix, holy water. Even a prayer book made her recoil, eyes wild. Her voice grew deep, unrecognizable. Sometimes she'd speak with guttural snarls, at other times mutter in languages she had never learned. Latin, Greek, even what witnesses described as Aramaic. She barked like a dog for days, crawling around the house and under tables, refusing to come out. She stripped naked and chewed at spiders, flies, and coal from the fireplace. More disturbingly, she licked up her own urine from the floor, bit into dead birds, and gnawed her flesh until she bled. Her knees were shattered from frantic, compulsive prayers, hundreds of genuflections every single day until she could barely walk.
Her parents, desperate and hopeless, abandoned science and begged the church for deliverance. On September 24, 1975, exorcists Father Arnold Renz and Father Ernst Alt began the first of what would be 67 exorcisms over 10 agonizing months. Inside her dimly lit bedroom, the rites began. Anneliese would be restrained for hours as the priests recited ancient prayers, her body contorted, twisting in agony as she howled and shrieked with voices that sounded nothing like her own. Sometimes, clawing at her face, she'd yell that Hitler, Lucifer, Cain, and Judas were inside her, each with a different voice and accent. In the audio tapes still available today, her growls are inhuman, guttural, layered, as if several people were screaming from the same throat. Shredded fingers clutched at the bedsheets as she gnawed her arms and kicked at anyone who came close. When holy water touched her, she would writhe and scream as if burned, her skin mottling red. She begged for death, gasping that the voices commanded her to die for the sins of others. The smell in the room grew rancid. Her family described it as a rotten, unexplainable stench that clung to the air long after the sessions ended. But the tortures were never-ending. Anneliese could go days without sleep, her screams echoing through the house every night. She struck her head against the wall until blood pooled, leaving deep cracks in the plaster and open wounds on her face. Even restrained, she would gnash her teeth so hard, her front teeth broke and fell out. She'd collapse collapse, her knees shredded from incessant kneeling. By summer, only raw bone peeked through the torn flesh. Yet still, she genuflected 500 to 600 times daily until blood dripped onto the floor.
Months passed. By June 1976, she had stopped eating entirely. The demons, she insisted, would not let her. Her hair fell out in clumps. Her body withered. She weighed less than 70 pounds. Bed sores opened along her back. Bruises covered nearly every inch of skin. The family saw her slip further from reality. Anneliese claimed to see figures bubbling out of the walls. She begged her mother not to abandon her, as she felt her soul being dragged to hell. The home, once bustling with family life, became a war zone, a place haunted by Anneliese's torments, the priest's relentless rituals, and the fear that death was closing in.
To this day, her story's horrors endure. Is it a case of possession or the tragedy of untreated mental illness tangled with religious hysteria? No one is sure. But if you listen to her cries on the exorcism tapes or read the accounts of what she endured, what her body became, you'll feel the creeping dread of a mystery that remains unsolved. Was Anneliese Michel a martyr or the ultimate victim of fear? That's for you to decide, if you can sleep after hearing her story.